Hey everyone, welcome back. Vastilok is now fixed apparently, ever since the hotfix from yesterday. So today we're going to find out how well it works now. Can it live up to its true potential I predicted, and does it surpass the other Gunblades as it seemed? Vastilok now uses the Melee 3.0 system, meaning it can finally build up to 12x combo for Blood Rush and Weeping Wound stacks. Previously, it realistically wouldn't go above 3.5x due to old combo scaling in Melee 2.0, which significantly nerfed the damage on its heavy attack, the crit tiers, size of slash ticks, and quantity of slash ticks. It's basically a whole new weapon. So for a quick refresher, Vastilok is mainly a status-focused gunblade. It is 72% slash weight on its shot. The weapon sports only 19% base crit chance, but this is still enough to reach over 100% on 12x heavies, which is what this gunblade seems to be intended for. At just 10.3% status per projectile, this is on the low side, but it still does reach at least 55.6% with just Weeping Wounds. With such high slash weight, there's plenty enough to spread procs around with its 9 pellets. This is the first gunblade with such massive range, is hit scan, and also has IPS, meaning it's a perfect candidate for shattering impact and surpasses Sarpa in addition to its DPS utility. It has unrivaled falloff, not starting until 23 meters out to 49, and also has innate punch through that lets you shoot through bodies. Basically, you can snipe enemies with this thing. It is also fantastic for Eidolon hunting, because that heavy attack naturally reaches above 100% crit and handles a lot like Old Redeemer with nearly non-existent falloff within the expected combat range. Now this is the first build focused around frequent usage of heavy attacks and self-fueling viral force slash. Think of like Murex runs and Veil Proxima when you were trying to kill Symbolists ASAP for Shidu drops. If you aren't bringing a separate primer, this is the way to go. Optionally, you could bring a primer and slot CO instead. This is suitable for when there is a very low amount of enemies and sustaining combo isn't that viable. Damage is not as high as a dedicated 12x heavy build with a primer, but this is self-sustaining. True Punishment now gives you 20 combo per shot, just like other gunblades. As we aren't necessarily building combo to 12x anyways, I opted for Sacrificial Steel instead, which gives the same full effect as Blood Rush on heavy. It is very easy to build combo though. You can shoot the light 3 to 5 times and then dump your heavy in once the viral is self-primed. Each shot will push you up a full combo tier, so it's perfect in a pinch. For gunblades, especially those with projectiles, I prefer offloading attack speed to Arcane Strike to get the most out of the weapon as possible since melee builds are so bloated. With each pellet counting as a separate hit, it is extremely easy to keep Arcane Strike active. I'm choosing to bring Neramon so that hopefully we can get more use out of our combo with Power Spike, but it isn't as important here. So let's try this one out without a primer first. I'm going to spawn in the Corrupted Heavy Gunners. All we have is raw damage and no bonus typing, alongside with some virals, so it's highly unlikely we will kill with the raw damage before the slash dots kick in. I will first try building up to 7x before dumping my heavy. Well, that went better than expected. Let's try 4x on the next one. Okay, that still worked, but was a lot worse. How about 3x? So as you can see, combo seems to be super important here and kind of problematic. Let's try it again with Condition Overload. 7x first. Then 4x. And then 3x. I imagine this makes lower combo stacks better, but it still has the same problem as the non-condition overload setup. Slash proc consistency is a huge issue on this weapon and is the reason combo is so important. If slash procs, they generally will die regardless of condition overload or not, but higher combo is just so much more valuable that in most situations I would say you aren't going to run this build. Outside of enemy farm runs like those Murex rushes, there isn't that much use, especially because Redeemer has way higher upfront damage since you actually build it for elements and doesn't need status either, meaning the sheer raw damage will surpass the unreliable slash procs, which are both lower in damage and frequency, unless I build to what it appears at least 7x combo. It's up to you. So let's jump right into the meat of things and look at the real way Vastilok is meant to be played. This is the 12x Xeneric Heavy Vastilok. Actually, let's X out of this very quickly. So you may be wondering why I'm taking Trinity, and that's because I need her to test damage later. I'll elaborate once we get there. We're running Swift Momentum in the Aura slot to give us an extra 6 seconds combo duration and a 30% bonus heavy windup. Primers also got their new best friend for melee in the form of Secondary Dexterity, which only cost me 15 plat by the way. Picked this up. The most important part of this is the extra 7.5 seconds combo duration it gives at max rank. Combined with our aura, this gives our Vastilok 18.5 seconds combo duration and makes losing combo an issue of the past, even though we're using Zenerake for Inner Might to cap out our heavy attack efficiency with Reflex Coil at 90%, and not Naramon for Power Spike combo decay bonus. Now let's look at NUKE again. This particular build procs 6 statuses, the 4 that are listed here, Slash from Hemorrhage, and the Inflation Microwave effect unique to NUKE. First, I'm going to say we're testing against Dracarmanic Bombards because I'm just going to let you know the damage is way too high, and they're also immune to radiation, so I will be missing one status proc when I showcase Condition Overload. But first, let's go back to the build. We are going for Raw Slash because we don't need a viral primer on this build, or we will even source it externally. This is the way to highest DPS. Once again, I'm sourcing attack speed from Arcane Strike, so we have empty slots on the build. For that reason, I've plugged up the free slot with Sacrificial Steel, which is worth another 83.6% total crit chance, and pushes our 12x heavy build to 186.2% with Blood Rush for nearly guaranteed oranges if we're running Condition Overload. In fact, if you skip CO and go raw damage with double sacrificial set, the crit chance actually goes up to 207.1% instead for guaranteed oranges. But I can't really fit double sac on right now, so I'm just gonna run prime pressure point instead. We have Reflex Coil to cap out the 90% heavy efficiency as I said with Inner Might from Zenerake, Amalgam Organ Shatter, and Gladiator Might to boost our neglected crit damage stats and decrease our heavy windup. Finally, since most of our scaling firepower is from Slash, I strongly recommend slotting a primed Smite if you want the most out of this weapon. It isn't really necessary out of endurance, but this is what lets it do level cap DPS. So first, since I'm testing it without CO, remember the damage ceiling is much higher than just prime pressure point. Like I said, I'm spawning in the Dracarmanic Bombards because the raw damage is so high, which won't work against Corrupted Heavy Gunners, and we want to see those massive Slash DOTs afterwards when they survive. Without the Slash, this weapon really has nothing. So let's try this out. We're going to build up to 12x and then dump in. Look at those juicy oranges. So we're seeing somewhere around 250k to 350k Slash. That isn't that bad and it's decent. This will kill basically anything that can take Slash ticks, whether in one tick or extremely rare cases too, but this also isn't too special as there are a lot of other weapons that can sit into the several 100,000 Slash DOTs and some of them even have AoE. The biggest difference though is that we can still take this further, so let's try to bring Condition Overload into the picture. I'm gonna head back into the arsenal and swap this out so we can try again. So I am presuming this will do too much damage, and I'm going to test on just 7x combo first, which will not only nerf our damage, but also the amount of Slash ticks we're getting. You build to that, prime the enemy, and shoot. And there you go, a 1 million Slash tick. Now I'll admit I did test this beforehand to see how far I could go and still let it live for the Slash DOT, and I knew that 7x was the furthest we could go. But what if we want to test 12x instead? I think you know what's gonna happen. Well, the raw damage is too high as I expected, and this is what I was afraid of. This is also why I brought Trinity, and this is what we're gonna do. Her Well of Life makes enemies invincible and stores all damage inflicted, including DOTs. When you uncast it or it expires, it will deal all of that damage to the enemy at once. So what we're going to do is build up to 12x, prime the enemy of our choice, Well of Life it, then dump the heavy in, wait for 1 tick and uncast it. Let's try it out. The resulting number we see will represent the raw damage and slash DOT added together. Because the slash DOT ignores armors and is so much larger than the upfront damage, it is still a decent representation of the size of slash, since that will be, say, 90% or higher of the total. About 5 to 6 million. That's how hard this thing slashes with just condition overload. We don't have any actual buffs in the picture. This will delete everything in one shot, including Demolist. You can only imagine how far we'd go, say, if we had Roar or some other damage ability buff. So for where upfront damage is enough, I guess Redeemer will win, or Strofro when it's within its range. But if you want something you can't kill in one shot with Redeemer, or you're doing level cap or Demolist and don't want to resort to buffs to make it possible, or want that sweet armor strip, try out Vastilok. It will annihilate everything you shoot at, whether you slot Shattering Impact or not, provided you proc slash, which is why the 12x Zenric build is by far the best. For Eidolons, nothing has really changed, as you would only use 2x combo anyways. If this is your first time watching, feel free to leave a like, or better yet subscribe. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. 79.5% of you are not subscribed. I'm trying my best to get you new information out always as soon as possible, like I've done with covering the Tempest story and the Sisters of Parvos updates. Stick around if you want to see interesting memes and builds on a nearly daily basis. I'm also preparing to get you the new info out first once new war stuff drops. You don't want to miss out on any of that, do you? That'll be it for this video. Thank you all for watching, and see you all next time.